Hey Paige, I just finished watching your video and went and tried to find some more literature on some things that you had mentioned. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started on my reply. Um, I like how you spoke on. Sorry, I'm looking over at my notes. I like how you talked about how that on the parents, bringing up the parents, we're looking back at the motivations in her life. And I agree with you that that question really does stem from the idea that our parents really influence our lives, and that by the age of 5 and 6, they really we've established our personality based off a lot of how they have really raised us. And so I like how you connected all that to motivations related to our chosen lifestyle. And then once we can understand those motivations, and then once we can understand their lifestyle, we can then go through and interpret those patterns that we see coming up through what they're talking to us about, and then helping redefine goals and redirect some things there. And then the life tasks, I got picked up on the same things that you did. Being secure, like how you pointed out that she is very secure in her connection with work. She automatically was saying, this is where I'm going to be, I don't want to do anything else. She doesn't really see herself doing anything else. So she's very secure in that, and that how you picked up that she's really looking for help in that, the love task, the love part of her life, where even the therapist had to dig deeper when it came to when he asked about if she'd ever get married again, and her automatic response was no, but then he dug a little bit deeper with, okay, maybe just a close relationship, things like that. And then on the interventions, I see the interpretation part, and I like that you picked up that he was kind of pushing, and he knew he could push with Gina, that really she was not going to be resistant. I know one thing in the book that it talked about was where clients can be resistant to change. They don't want to go back to that healthy lifestyle. They kind of want to stay stuck in a rut sometimes. But he knew that he understood that she is someone, because like you said, of her determination, that she really was looking to make better decisions, and so that she could reach her life goals. And so through that interpretation and pushing with those patterns, and he's getting her to dive deeper into those patterns. And then I was with you. I was caught between the visualization of kind of making peace and being able to communicate and talk with her ex. I do see that as an encouragement, but I did kind of, when I was reading back through the techniques, I could see that as an as-if situation. And I think the examples in the textbook are very specific, but it's almost like a spectrum. Some things could go along this line on there as well. But I like how you brought up that the patterns of selfishness and not those patterns, her selfishness is tied to her doing what she thinks she needs to do, whatever the right decision is, to be, happy, whatever she needs to do. All that's kind of being tied back to that masculine protest, or even that sign of inferiority. So I did kind of look up a little bit more information, because I know in the textbook it talked about, I think it brought up the masculine protest more of with lesbians, and they were lesbian because they protested that part. So I did a little more reading, and it was more about the relationship you have with your parents and how much attention and affection and love is really kind of shared with the son or sons in the family. There's a difference in the treatment there, and where you see the masculine, the sons, as being more superior, and the girls being less superior. And so I'm wondering, I kind of tied that back into, I don't rewatch the first video, and she does talk about how excuse me, when she was pursuing her career, she had her husband's support. I think she even mentioned how that was even a conversation of, like, that they had, like, that was a big conversation that they had. And so I think you're on to something there with, because her mom, she mentioned that her mother did not have her father's support when she was pursuing her career. And so I could kind of see little glimmers of that masculine protest in there, and more of it being an inferior superiority complex. I can definitely see those things in there. I need to do some more reading on that one. And I kind of, I can kind of see that in there. I had a student one time that, our first year of teaching, god awful year, but she did not want to be called by her first name. She identified as a boy, and she would get irate if you called her by her given name. And we kind of made the deal where I was like, look, I'm gonna call you by your last name. She was like, okay, perfect. But she would get very, very mad when the kids would call her by her first name just to pick on her. But talking with the counselor there, getting to know her, she was the only daughter of like 5 or 6 boys. And there was some definite, what's the word I'm trying to say, differences on how the boys were treated and she was treated. And so I could kind of see some glimmers of this thing in there, and I didn't know at the time what it was called. And then it was the actual part of therapy, or these psychological theories. So I can kind of see those things in there as well. Sorry, I keep looking over my notes. So I really enjoyed your perspective on this. I love watching your videos. So we'll catch you later.